Hello, this is Geerbar again on the sixth episode of the Neil Diamond Discography. And how shall we call this one? The Wandering, yes, he was adrift a little bit at the music scene. There are no big hits in this episode, but well, the true fans did keep on following Mr. Diamond after the Jazz Singer, the wonderful album uh, from his movie The Jazz Singer. Okay, we continue with a record called "On the Way to the Sky." There was the hit "Yesterday's Songs." It wasn't really a big hit outside America, I guess, but "Only You" was on it. Not the version of the Platters, but it was a nice version. "Be Mine Tonight," and I really liked "Love Burns." There was also a CD, of course, and there was a picture disc, yeah, with his face on it, the front of the cover and the back side with the beautiful clouds. Rainy Day Song was on it too, and Guitar Heaven. Some nice songs, not his best album, but it came became better with Hard Light. There was the hit Hard Light. From the movie, he went to the movie E.T. with Mr. Burt Bacharach, two great composers together, and they made this beautiful song, Hard Light. And it was quite a nice album within an Ensenada. I like it a lot. There was Starflight, which he used for opening his shows at the time. It was a nice instrumental piece, and the song I liked the most here was First You Have to Say You Love Me. Oh, that was a nice one. Also, there was a picture disc of the album, but only from the song Hard Light. There was a message from Neil thanking the fans, and he put Hard Light on a picture disc, and there was the CD with I collected this one, but it isn't a nice cover, so I had to make my own cover again. And then came a more synthesizer orientated album called Primitive. Quite strange using synthesizers on an album called Primitive. But Neil did some nice versions here of his own songs of Fire on the Tracks, which was a reggae orientated song. I liked it, but my album always skipped on that one, so I had to buy the CD. And yeah, it's not his greatest album, best album. There was also hey, sorry, Mr. Diamond, picture disc of this one with the same back as the album. And then Mr. Diamond made another album which wasn't that well received, called Headed for the Future. There was the hit Headed for the Future, there was the TV special with Carol Burnett, there was Stevie Wonder on it, they did a marvelous version of Sir Duke, and The Story of My Life is on it, which was intended to be the main theme of the album. Neil wanted to write songs about his life, like he did with Brooklyn Roads, but at some point they left the idea, and it became an album with much more synthesizer orientated songs. One song I like very much is It Should Have Been Me. It's written by Bryan Adams, the Canadian rock star. I never found I never found a version of Bryan Adams himself, but he wrote it for other people. I guess there must be a demo somewhere. And some of his there are lots of people who covered it, I found out later. There is no picture disc of that one I'm aware of, but there is, of course, the CD. And from then on, I think I always bought the CDs of his albums until they stopped making the vinyl ones. Here we have a next episode of his live performances, and we have Neil Diamond Hot August Night Part 2. And like many movies, Part 2 never that good. So I think there's a lot of shouting on this one. There are two new songs on it, like I Dreamed a Dream and Back in LA, and a marvelous outro on the song Hard Light. So there is, you know, when he does Brother Love Traveling Salvation Show, there's always an outro when the orchestra is taking over. Now he did it with Hard Light. It's very nice. But I'm telling you, from then on, I think Neil's live performances. I wasn't there when they did the live performances, but because he didn't came to Belgium at the time. But he was always shouting like songs like Sweet Caroline. Yeah, perhaps when you were there, it had another feeling, but on the record, it didn't come over until later on when he came back for the first time. When he came for the first time to Belgium, his concerts were very good. His voice is getting better. Getting older, his voice is getting better. Perhaps he's saving his voice and not shouting that much. There are songs when it's okay shouting, like Brother Love Traveling Salvation Show. All right, that one needs it. But at the end of the first time I'm worrying about his voice was the end of Love at the Greek, when he did the Jonathan Livingston Seagull medley. It was very nice, but at the end he's shouting B, and he's going flat with his voice, and he's making a glissando. I didn't like that at all. But he left it in, and I guess that's why he's such a great performer. He doesn't do tricks on his live albums. Okay, enough about that. After that, there was a real cool album. It sounded nice, sounded very good. There was a nice song on it, Best Years of My Life. This time was the single. Baby Can I Hold You is on it from Tracy Chapman. There was a CD. Of course, I've collected the album later. I bought the CD at the time. Long Hard Climb. Caught in Disaster. There are some nice songs on it. And some people didn't recognize him. The beginning of The Best Years of My Life, of Our Lives, is very nice. And there is a promo version of it, a limited edition promotional CD with other songs of the album, but also other great songs of Neil Diamond himself. Hooked on the Memory of You is on it. It was done while he was touring, and then there was this one. It was a limited edition collection, collector CD of Neil at the time. Quite hard to find, but you can perhaps find it on eBay. So then there was a time that I didn't really follow Neil Diamond anymore. I saw in the stores, there was this album. His face was quite in the shadows, and I think perhaps there's been a time when Mr. Diamond was ill. He had some really back problems. I once heard the word cancer, but he recovered happily enough. I guess this is in this period. There are not that great hits on it, not at all. I think If There Were No Dreams, there are some nice songs on it, but there's nothing I can recall. Common Ground, I like some of them, but there is also a single, If There Were No Dreams, from it. Yeah, it was on CD, and there is also this single CD with Don't Turn Around, Lonely Lady, number 17, All I Really Need Is You. It's not so nice for the cover. And was there an album of it? Yes, there was. There was a vinyl album called Lawscape with Neil in the Shadows. I don't think his son Jesse made the picture. I'm not sure. Later on he will. Then there was the Christmas LP, but I'm not showing you that one yet because there will be a separate episode only about the Christmas albums. There was this album called, and then he was looking at concept albums about things like the brill building writers, and he covered lots of his colleagues their songs, and there is one album made of it. I like the live version of I Who Have Nothing. It sounds great, but it isn't that great an album. It's hard to find on vinyl, but I have it. Okay. And then I said I like the live album of I Who Have Nothing. It was on Live in America. It is several occasions where he went to Los Angeles and New York City, and then he recorded this one, and it's all several parts of songs in all different cities of America, and he's shouting a lot. I don't like the album, the live album again. I'm sorry to say that, but we have to be honest, or I have to be honest. And then there are lots of albums on CD and not on vinyl anymore, not the LPs. It's another concept, the country album, yeah, made with Tennessee Moon. There was his own version, a new country version of Kentucky Woman. There was a TV special about that one. Also about Up on the Roof, there was a TV special with Neil Sedaka singing with Neil, the two Neils, on the TV special. Here is a TV special also with Walton Jennings, I guess. And Marry Me, there are some nice songs on it. It's getting better all the time, but it's still not the Neil we knew from the MCE years or the jazz singer and Beautiful Noise. Then he was still looking for something new, and he made the movie album. Yes, there are two versions, a double one and a single one for the people with not so lots of money, so they have to buy just one, and this one was more expensive, I guess. I don't know. Or only best of the movie albums. It's Neil with the great Mr. Elmer Bernstein, the man of the Magnificent Seven music score. Neil did it live with the orchestra. It sounds good. There's a nice version of The Windmills of My Mind. There are some versions I don't like there is this one called And a Lover by the Beatles, and he does this with the orchestra. I don't like it, but everyone has his own taste, yes. And then there is an album which isn't that great also, but there's one song I like very much, and that's this one. Nice title, 3-chord opera. It seems like Neil is recovering from those special albums with movies and country and old covers of brill building. And then there is 3-chord opera. There are not so great songs on it, I must say. There's a terrible song called At the Movies, and but there is one song I want to mention, and it's called I Haven't Played This Song in Years. When I bought this album, bought it straight away when it came out, not like the other ones that were before. This one I bought straight away. I put it on the CD player in my car, and when I heard this song, I thought, yes, Neil's back. It was such a nice song with a hobo, I guess, and the piano tune, very nice. I haven't found it on vinyl. You can always send it to me if you have one. I don't think it exists, but 3-chord opera, you should have it only for the first song. Later on, there are some nice songs like Elijah's song about his grandchild, and I don't think it's very great, but that song is very good. And then I stop this episode, and then we're going to a new episode when Neil found himself back. According to me, he was back with the American recordings and Rick Rubin. See you next time. If you like it,